Pathmonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add Pathmonk to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have John Golden from Pipeliner CRM, Chief Strategy and Marketing Officer with them. How are you doing today, John?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you, Ernest.
It's great to have you on, and you're almost about to complete those 10 years, so I'm glad that we're able to get you on our today's podcast.
Sounds like a sentence. Hopefully, I haven't had any parole hearings lately, so it looks like I'll be here for a while. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it's a great achievement. So, congrats up in the upcoming months for you. And let's kick it off, right? So that way our listeners can get a good understanding of Pipeliner CRM. Can you tell us a little bit more in your own words?
Yeah, so Pipeliner CRM, as the name suggests, is a CRM, a customer relationship management system. We are the most visual and engaging platform on the market, and the only one that really can take the complexity of enterprise platforms and enterprise selling and make it simple and intuitive for users. So from mid-market up to enterprise, we have visualized everything from a salesperson perspective so that when you work in the CRM, you can embed it into your daily work practice. It makes sense. It leverages. It keeps you focused. It has automation tools built in to take out those routine and rote activities that you need to do. We have AI built in there to give you some intelligence and insights into things. But overall, we're the most visual CRM, and the adoption rates we get from the actual salespeople, the users of the system, is second to none.
Definitely awesome to hear that from you guys. And so that way our listeners could get a good understanding then of your Pipeliner CRM. What would you say is that key problem that you guys like to solve for clients?
Yeah, it is actual visibility into your revenue, your pipeline, your accurate forecasting, and having people use the system so that management is getting the data so they can do the reporting, because the salespeople are actually using the system, and then the salespeople can get 360 views of their prospects and customers and be able to track all of the interactions, to be able to see where they need to pay attention, to have all the elements they need in order to sell successfully in one system and following a logical way that salespeople do business on a daily basis.
Awesome. All right. Great. And as far as some clients of yours, is there a specific vertical segment? Is there an ideal ICP for Pipeliner CRM?
Yeah, we do. We're actually across like multiple verticals, to be honest, but we do particularly well in, I would say, in IT. So, I mean, software and hardware security, professional services, management consulting, and that. Industrial equipment in manufacturing, we do very well, and also in the energy sector, construction and that, and in medical devices and insurance. That's where insurance is another one. So those are ones that are particularly strong for us, but we are kind of cross verticals.
All right, great to hear. And so let's say, I'm in IT, and, how would I find out about Pipeliner? Is there a top client acquisition channel for you guys?
Yeah, so the best thing would go to pipelinersales.com to go to the website, but then there's also, we have the YouTube channel, and, so you can find out a lot about us from both of those. We're a bit of a content machine, so if you go to our website, you'll discover that we don't just have content about the product. So we also have a lot broader content. We look at the, we help people with content around like sales management, because obviously sales management is a key part of, CRM system is a key part of that, but sales management has the skills surrounded. So we produce a lot of content to help you also with your job, not with just using the system.
That's great to hear. That awesome to hear from you and Pipeliner. And so then, and like you mentioned, right, our listeners that are tuned in, go ahead and visit you. They could check you out at pipelinersales.com. What world?
On LinkedIn, on our company page on LinkedIn is another great place to go and see us.
Definitely. All right, great. What role then does the website play for client acquisition, John?
Yeah, so it plays a number of roles for us. Number one, it helps to introduce us to the market in terms of the visual difference that we make and our product makes. So it immediately reinforces and validates that. It becomes a great source of validation because of our customer base and the customers who've been kind enough to give us testimonials and case studies and things. So it absolutely helps us reinforce our brand. And we try to educate through it as well. So because when somebody is going to make a purchasing decision around CRM, it can be quite overwhelming with the amount of CRMs in the market. So we're very clear about what we do. We're also very clear about what we don't do. And I think that's something that a lot of people miss out on is that, your brand, your site, your website, everything, being very clear in what you do, but also helping people understand what you don't do, where you stay in your lane, if you like, because there's so much information overload today that I think that's a problem for people. So we try to be very, very, direct. We try to be very transparent, and we try to be as helpful as possible. So from a conversion point of view, people come, they can do free trials, they can request a demo, they can review our content. We can follow up with them. So it operates both, from an inbound and an outbound perspective. From outbound, it's some place to send people to get them to go and visit. Our organic SEO and stuff brings in a lot of traffic and that for people who are looking at CRM in the first place. And also it's a reference point because we're on all of the third-party review sites, the G2 Crowds and all of those. Again, it's very important from when that traffic comes over as well, is that, you're putting your best foot forward.
Okay, great to hear that. Thank you so much for that. And is there any tools or tips or methods that you would recommend to your listeners as far as some website lead generation?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, and I think the authenticity thing, I think is very, very important today, right? And that is how authentic does your website sound? Does it really sound like who you really are as a business? Because I think that's really important because people sometimes spend a lot of time with what I call bumper stickers and all that on their website that are totally disconnected from the actual experience of working with the company. So I think you should be very, very clear and authentic about who you are. I think your website has to be relatable. I mean, I think you have to go to the website and it has to resonate with you. You have to see. So that's why we use a lot of personas and things just to make people feel like they get me. I understand that, in this role or whatever, they see me. So I think it's important that it's authentic, that it's relatable, it resonates, that people feel like they see you. And I think that transparency and honesty, I think that's incredibly important today because I see a lot of like fluff and buzzwords and all of this. People love to throw in a new what sound like new technical terms and this, and people get all worried about it. And that's what we try to avoid. And that's what I would advise people to avoid is don't use the latest buzzwords. Don't have bumper stickers on your website. And that means like, don't say anything on your website that you can't back up with or that if somebody becomes a prospect, that they won't suddenly go, oh, well, you have customer centric and all of this all over your website, but when I actually come to work with you, I find that you're quite hard to do business with, right? So, like I said, don't have anything that's incongruent with who you are.
Awesome. Great to hear that from you. Thanks for sharing those tips and methods there with us, John. Let's switch gears a little bit, John, and let's talk about you as a leader. You being the Chief Strategy and Marketing Officer there for Pipeliner CRM. What are some key tasks you like to focus on your day-to-day work?
Yeah, so I do a lot of work around, the messaging and PR. So I work with our PR company very, very closely on that because, again, we do a lot of work with publications and with journalists and stuff, helping them with their work and, and obviously getting our message out as well. So I spend a lot of time on PR. I spent a lot of time on strategy and forward looking as well, because the landscape is changing and rapidly altering. So making sure that we are aligned properly, our messaging is aligned, and that we're ready to to support any initiatives that come through. So as I said, as new features come on board, or maybe we're integrating more AI into the platform, things like that, we want to be working very closely at an early stage to make sure that messaging flows through everything from our website to our PR, etc. And that, to be honest, that's where a lot of where I spend my time, but also then on the networking side from a content point of view, because as you mentioned before, I run my own podcast, Sales Pop, and which you can see behind me, and that's and I spend some time on that because that builds a network of key experts and thought leaders and people like that. So again, that helps me stay on top of what's happening across multiple industries and in multiple areas as well. So so that's where I spend the majority of my time.
Definitely. And that's that. I mean, it sounds like you have a full plate there on your hands. And then those between cracks, how do you then stay up to date with all the trends that are going on in the marketing, these strategies? Is there a channel that you like to prefer to go with and stay up to date?
Yeah, well, as I said, I go back to my own podcast because, to be honest, it's the easiest. I found the easiest way of me staying up to date with everything is to talk to experts and people who actually know what's happening in different areas. So the guests that I have on my podcast, I get a lot of marketing folks and marketing/sales, like chief revenue officers and people. And so I get to stay up on all of the latest things that's happening in all these different niches as well, and different specializations, by interviewing and talking to people who are experts. For me, that's been the most effective way of staying up on things, because I get it straight from the horse's mouth, if you like, and so I don't have to go searching and looking and finding. I actually just talk to people who really know what they're talking about.
I would totally agree with you on that point, right? I think every time I bring someone on, it's something new. So it's awesome to hear the same from you, John. So great.
Fantastic. I mean, I get, people always say, thank you for coming. Thank you for having me on and for interviewing me. And I always have to say, well, thank you for teaching me something.
Definitely. I feel the same way. Awesome to hear that from you saying the same. And well, then let's jump into our next section here, John, which is our rapid fire question round. Sure. Ready for them?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Then first off, John, what is the last book that you read?
Last book I read is the Book of Five Rings, which is written by Miyamoto Musashi in the 16th century, 16th century samurai master. That's the last book I read because it's full of fantastic wisdom around strategy and just approach to life. And so I always like to use both, there's a lot of great things today, but I like to leverage the wisdom of the ages as well. So you can learn a lot from from Greek philosophers and 16th century samurai masters if you take the time.
Definitely. All right. Great. Interesting read there from you, John. Next up then is, there's a lot of AI going on, right? Out there. Are you guys focused at one point into going into the AI there at Pipeliner?
Oh yeah, we were the first to integrate a really solid AI feature into our platform last year, where we brought in this AI assistant so it can, because salespeople aren't very good at email to begin with. So this one helps you write your emails, put them in the right tones, bullet everything for you, and basically look after that whole communication piece for you. So we embedded that, but we didn't just kind of do ChatGPT, whatever. We used the OpenAI and the API, and we built in something properly ourselves into the system. We're going to be bringing out more things like that in this year, in the future, because we're looking to leverage AI as efficiently and effectively as possible for the platform, but not gimmicky stuff, not like superficial stuff. Where we're really focused on doing it properly, and the AI system was the first part of that strategy.
Absolutely right. Great to hear that. Next then is, if there would be no boundaries in technology, John, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
Yeah, that's a really tough one. That's a really tough one to answer, though. I think if I had a piece of technology that eliminated buzzwords, I'd use that one. That just blast the buzzwords off everything. That would be fantastic. But I think a tool that brought together everything from, you know, SEO to, you know, the tone of content to, you know, to the right, you know, imagery. I'd love something where you could press a button and it would take everything and would say, this is the perfect piece of content. It's beautifully SEO'd. The tone is nice. It really brings out the subject that you're trying to, or the content that you're trying to communicate. It communicates visually as well. It'd just be great to have something that just did all of those, because you can do a lot of those elements kind of separately with different tools, but I'd love to have a button you could press and it would just say, yes, this is an almost perfect piece of content.
Definitely. All right. Awesome. Great to hear that. Next then, if there's one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
Well, you know, here's the funny thing is, because we actually have an automation tool within Pipeliner, and it's within Pipeliner CRM. So there isn't actually any kind of tasks or whatever I have today that I haven't already automated, you know, the routine ones. Which has allowed me to focus on the areas that I told you about. So we have this workflow automation engine within Pipeliner. It's a no-code one. It's a drag and drop, and you can basically, anytime you define, you know, you see that you have a task or a process, you know, that you're doing repetitively or whatever, you can just turn it into an automation. We have over 400 automations running in our company right now, which allows us to be very productive. So the answer to your question is there's nothing right now, because I pretty much automated everything that we can.
Definitely. All right. Great. That's awesome, right? I think everybody should be at that point. So great to hear that from you guys. And well, lastly, here, John, I mean, you have tons of experience already in the marketing world, but what is that one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Yeah, the one piece of advice I would give to myself and to everybody else is to spend as much time with sales as possible and to really understand sales. And to be honest, if you can get an opportunity to be a salesperson and to sell for a bit, that would be good too. I think that the most effective marketers are people who understand sales and understand the reality of the world that sales operates in. Because here we are in, what are we now, 2024? I'm losing track. I'm a bit older than you, so I'm losing track of the years. But like in 2024, we can still talk about sales and marketing alignment, which for me is ridiculous. It shouldn't be an issue, but it still is an issue. And I think the most effective marketers are ones who understand sales and understand the world of sales, because the minute you can demonstrate to sales that you understand their world, you have an in there that the other marketing folks generally won't have, and you'll have a much better, you know, collaboration, and you'll have much more effective marketing going forward. So that would be my one piece of advice: is don't get so like blinkered in marketing, but like understand the sales world and understand how they operate and understand the demand of sales, and it's going to make you a really, really effective marketer. And you're going to be embraced by sales organizations and sales leaderships throughout your career, as opposed to the experience a lot of marketers have, where that can be a little contentious relationship.
Awesome. Hey, well, thank you so much for sharing that advice here, not just for yourself and for all our listeners as well. And we are coming to the end of the show here, John. But before we do end, I do want to give you the last word. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is that one thing they should remember about your company?
That you can love using a CRM. Most people, when you hear CRM, most people go, ugh, but you can love using Pipeliner. And that's the feedback we get from our users, that they actually love using it because it's so engaging and visual, and it actually helps them do their job. So there's one takeaway. We have broken the myth that you can't love a CRM. Yes, you can. You can love ours.
Well, there you guys heard it. Check them out at pipelinersales.com. John, thank you so much for being on. And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm looking forward to our next episode at Pathmonk Presents. Thanks a lot, John.
Thank you, Ernesto.